So I went into this movie not knowing anything about the politics or the messaging. I had just seen a trailer a while back and I thought it looked kind of interesting. And I saw the first movie and I thought that was pretty good. And it's been getting better reviews than just about any other horror movie I've ever heard of. So I said, I might as well go see it. If nothing else, it should make for a good review. And what I saw, wow. Now there's two ways I could attack this. I could say this film represents everything shitty about Hollywood. I could complain about left-wing bias in the media. I could talk about how the film, and we'll get into this, literally advocates white genocide at the end. I could complain about that shit, but I'm not. I'm just going to laugh at this because this is pathetic. This is Cope. This is Seethe. This just I think you just have to look at the culture that would make something like this and the people who would make something like this and say we own the haters by making this and just feel pity for them. Cuz that's really all you can do. It's literally this film feels like someone on who saw a thread about them on Kiwi Farms and just started impotently posting on their blog. It's like Chris Chan tier trying to just lash out at the people who you believe wronged you. It's so impotent and so pathetic, and it just makes the people behind it look like complete and total retards. So let's get into the movie. So I gotta tell you the twist right now. George Floyd is the Candyman. The Candyman is literally a stream of demons that are created by the vengeful spirits of black men who were killed by the police who didn't do nothing. Literally. Literally, in this community, like if a black guy gets killed by the Chicago police unfairly, he becomes a vengeful spirit who will hunt down and kill anyone who says his name 5 times. Now, here's kind of the issue with that. This is supposed to be like a way to own the haters and own the white people. But in the movie, it repeatedly shows Candyman killing innocent black people. He kills black kids at one point. So I don't really know. I kind of feel like the person who made this had like a room temperature IQ and didn't really get that putting that in and then making Candyman some heroic figure kind of didn't really mesh out. And as I said, this is what they've been reduced to. The cope now is like basically they're like, we suck so much, we've been oppressed so much, and we're so impotent that our collective impotence and collective suffering gives birth to a demon who mainly kills our own community. And that's our superhero. And that's what they're putting forward as their superhero. It's not like Superman or Batman or Captain America. It's fucking Candyman. That's the best they can come up with. That's their Seethe. That's their cope. Like, and maybe that's like a layer of irony to the film, is that the film is like the exact thing that it like purports to be against, or I don't know, maybe it's some kind of like meta thing. The other thing I find that's seething and coping about this is every single thing it seems that black people make is about white people. It's about racism or racial injustice or something like that. It's like 99% of it is that. The impression one would get from watching basically anything produced by black people or for black people is that black people spend 99% of their day just seething about white people. They don't think about their own things, they don't tell their own stories, they don't have their own urban legends. The urban legend they're going to put forward is just about them being oppressed by white people. There's nothing else. Like they don't, their entire culture just seems to be based off of that. And that's just really sad. And it's like I'm not even angry about it anymore. It's pathetic. It's like if every single Shakespeare play, I guess, was a copy of The Merchant of Venice, maybe. So like if that it was all that, and like every single horror movie made by a white person had a black guy as the villain, I guess. There was no demons, there was no like Mothman, there was no Blob, there was no Tingler or any of that stuff. It was just every single one. They just had to shove it in there. And every like it's even if it's maybe not everything, almost all of them, like the media that is at least promoted by their community and in the public sphere, is just them complaining about white people. And it doesn't even offend me. I just think it's pathetic and sad. I mean, to spend all day just sitting there seething and coping. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can say a lot of this channel is seethe and cope, and it certainly is. But I talk about other stuff. I talk about anime. I talk about video games. I talk about historical stuff that's not related to contemporary politics. I talk about religion that isn't related directly to contemporary politics. I talk about a lot of different stuff, but these people just seem to think about this 24/7. And it's lame. And they made this and they're like, we're going to own the haters. We're going to own the haters by promoting a serial killer, a supernatural serial killer who mostly preys on his own community. And like, there's multiple scenes in the movie where the all-white Chicago police force. Let me see what percentage of the Chicago police force is black. Okay, so I'm seeing different sources, but apparently the police force is somewhere between 1/5 and 1/3 black, and then 1/5 to 1/3 non-white Hispanic or something. So there's other people, and apparently there's also no female cops. It's entirely composed of white males. Also, isn't Chicago run by a black government, and hasn't it been run by a black government for like a long period of time? So it's just like, oh, we got you. We took over and we like didn't do anything when we took over. And there's even a couple scenes where they point out that like the main character is a social parasite who makes money from like pretentious white artists who give him money because they want him to make stuff about promoting the whole victim narrative, which is what this movie is doing. And there's a couple people who are like, you know, dude, you're taking like this parasite money. You're living in a gentrified neighborhood. You're a postmodern artist, which is like the most worthless thing I can think of. It's just like, what is your moral high ground here? And they just get killed by the police, and you just have these like repeated George Floyd scenes of just like, I can't breathe, and the police just shoot them, and there's like a scene where the police try to intimidate the main character into the girlfriend of the main character into being a like into going along with their fake story and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, that's totally the all white Chicago Police Department. It's bullshit. They have to, like, it's cope. It's like I said, they have to come up with this narrative that doesn't exist, because if they didn't have this narrative, if they didn't spend that, they'd have to actually look at themselves, and they don't want to do that, because if they were to strip away all this other nonsense that they're obsessed with, well, you know what they would see, and they don't want to see that. So the movie ends literally with Candyman, who's like the new Candyman because he's the new George Floyd, getting killed, telling the girl to just tell everybody about Candyman, so all the white people will start saying Candyman, and he'll show up and kill them, and we'll get literal white genocide. And that's what they did. And that's the best that these people can come up with. So I don't think anything I said in this is really that controversial or really that wrong. I mean, it's just an honest take on it.